The message came at 2:11 a.m. A single line, a single sentence, from a number I knew too well. We need to talk before morning. No greeting, no name, no apology. Just urgency, like fear trying to disguise itself as authority. I stared at the screen while the room breathed its quiet, indifferent darkness. The glow of the phone carved sharp angles across my hands. Hands that had typed 1,000 reports for her. Hands that had built her empire's foundations long before she became the CEO, my wife, my mentor, and apparently the judge of my worth. 5 hours earlier, she'd sat across from me in her glass office and said, with the softness of a blade pressing into skin, "You're not ready for promotion." Years of sacrifices evaporated with those words. Years of coming home at midnight. Years of watching the clock strike past dinner, past birthdays, past sleep. And I had simply nodded, said, "Thank you," walked out at 5 p.m. sharp, for the first time in years. But now, in the stillness of night, as her message pulsed against the screen, I felt something shift. Not anger, not despair. A quiet click inside my chest, like a lock finally opening. I turned the phone face down, let her words sink into the dark. She wasn't afraid of losing me, not yet, but she would be, soon. The next morning, her smile was too deliberate, tight, sculpted, like a mask she'd worn too long. "Did you get my message?" she asked. I nodded. I did. Silence stretched. A small, almost invisible tremor crossed her fingers. She tucked her hand beneath a folder, pretending I hadn't noticed. The truth is, I had been noticing for months. Her late-night calls that ended the second I walked in. Her sudden trips, always urgent, always for the board. The way she had begun dressing for admiration, not professionalism. The strangely emotional distance, as if she were rationing affection. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I worked too much. Maybe I wasn't present enough. Maybe I'd become forgettable. But then came the slip. A hotel receipt in her purse with a date I recognized. The night she told me she was at a leadership summit. The room was booked for 2. I didn't confront her. I didn't shout or accuse. I simply folded the receipt, placed it back, and let the suspicion breathe. Infidelity is a quiet monster. It doesn't roar, it whispers. And it had been whispering in my ear for weeks. So when she told me I wasn't ready for promotion, something inside me clicked again. Not humiliation, not heartbreak, understanding. She wasn't trying to protect the company, she was trying to protect herself. To keep me beneath her, beneath suspicion, beneath truth. I smiled at her that morning, calm, controlled. "I'm taking a few days off," I said. Her eyes widened slightly. "Since when do you?" "Since now." She didn't argue. She couldn't, because whatever she was hiding was already starting to eat her alive. 2 days, that's all I needed. 2 days to peel back the layers of her lies with surgical precision. I requested itemized phone logs, checked hotel records, traced corporate card transactions, cross-referenced business trips with GPS histories she thought she had deleted. All done quietly, coldly, without the slightest ripple in the surface. And every new detail connected to the same name. A director, a man she had promoted rapidly, too rapidly. Still, I needed more. I needed proof she couldn't deny, not even to herself. So I visited the hotel. The receptionist remembered her, remembered him, remembered the way they laughed like people with empty rings and full secrets. I walked out with camera footage, images that spoke for themselves. Back home, I didn't rage, didn't scream, didn't break anything. I cooked a simple meal, ate slowly, watched the clock hit 5 p.m. For once, I enjoyed the silence. Because silence, I learned, is where truth sharpens itself. The next morning, Thanksgiving approached. The family group chat pinged endlessly with demands and expectations. At 10 a.m., my daughter-in-law called. Her voice grated through the speaker. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." I stared at the sink. Clean, immaculate. A symbol of years spent balancing family, career, and marriage while being treated like a servant in my own home. I replied with a single word. I hung up. Blocked the number. A soft, satisfying click. Hours later, my wife's family group exploded. Screenshots, accusations, misunderstandings. I ignored them. I had more important matters. That evening, I left for Switzerland. My villa, my sanctuary, my escape. A place she didn't know existed. A place I bought years ago, anticipating the storm I always knew would come. I took photos, posted them quietly. Sunlit terraces, snow-kissed mountains. A life she believed I could never afford. Within minutes, her calls flooded in. Then her messages. Then her panic. And I watched them come in, one after another. 71 calls. Then, silence. Then, "Please, we need to talk." Now she was ready. Not for the truth, but for the consequences. She arrived at the villa the next morning. Her eyes were swollen, her voice hollow, her confidence stripped down to fear and cheap perfume. "Why didn't you tell me about this place?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I handed her the envelope instead. She opened it. Her breath snapped. Hotel records, phone logs, photos, and one sentence I had written at the bottom. "This is why I wasn't ready for promotion?" Her knees softened. Her mouth trembled. A sob tried to crawl out, but she smothered it with shaking hands. "Please, it's not what it looks like." I tilted my head slightly. A predator studying a cornered liar. She searched my face for anger. She found none. Just stillness. Cold, clean stillness. She collapsed into a chair, whispering apologies that felt like dust. Every lie she had fed me, every moment she had weaponized my loyalty, all of it reflected back at her in the documents she clutched like a dying heartbeat. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth was loud enough. I walked to the window, let her cry behind me. "You said I wasn't ready," I said quietly. "You were right. I wasn't ready to see who you really are." She crawled closer, gripping my leg. Desperate, pathetic. "Please, we can fix this. Don't throw us away." I stepped back. Her hands hit the floor. "I didn't throw anything," I whispered. "You did." I handed her another envelope, legal documents she didn't expect. "Resignation letter," I said. "Yours." Her face drained of color. "I won't sign this." "You already have." I placed my phone on the table. A recorded confession she'd made, drunkenly, 2 nights earlier, admitting to unethical conduct, favoritism, abuse of authority. She had forgotten. I hadn't. Her lips parted in horror. "You trapped me." "No," I corrected. "I simply watched you walk into your own trap." She broke then. Knees, voice, pride, all of it collapsing into a pile of trembling remorse. But remorse doesn't undo betrayal. It only decorates it. I opened the door. "Leave." Her eyes begged. I didn't blink. "Leave." And she did. Slowly. Broken. Ruined. After she left, the villa returned to silence, a silence I finally recognized as freedom. I sat on the terrace, watching the mountains hold their dignity beneath the cold sun. They didn't bend, didn't chase, didn't plead. They simply stood, unmoved, untouched. I understood them. People think revenge is fire, but real revenge is ice. A calm refusal, a quiet door closing, a life rebuilt without the one who tried to dismantle it. My phone lit again. Her number, her desperation. I watched it ring, and fade. I let it, because some truths don't need to be spoken, they just need to be lived. And mine was simple. She tried to break me. Instead, she freed me.